Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Wednesday, the 30th of July, 2025. We'll start off, as always, with the synoptic picture, beginning at midnight last night. We can see the tail end of that warm sector there, having moved away, brought us all that sort of fairly cloudy, slight drizzly weather we had yesterday. I think they squeezed a bit out of the morning, but the jet movements seemed to curtail things a little bit into the afternoon, although it did clear up into the evening quite nicely. Into today, another sort of fairly similar day. So we do have seclusion and it's moving eastbound. We do have an element of a cold front that is slightly tracking towards us with a northerly flow to the weather. And out to the west, we've also got this decaying warm front bringing in a bit more clouds, quite a lot of thick mid-level cloud today. Should see that deteriorate quite significantly and become a slightly smaller but no less present frontal feature for tomorrow, bringing a fair bit of precipitation with a short warm sector followed by the cold front and a trough very close behind. But we should stay relatively dry today, albeit under a fairly dense layer of sort of auto-Q. And you can see here, looking at the sat pic, clear out towards sort of East Anglia and Norfolk, but in our area here, fairly thick cloud, plenty of it to the north, tracking in from the northwest and thickening throughout the day. The rain radar. There are a number of showers, and you can see a line here to the north of us, but nothing locally, certainly that's going to affect us within the sort of immediate future. Looking at the Met Office prediction, if we run that through, we can see some showers passing quite close to the north by Reading at lunchtime, but otherwise we're staying in the clear air more or less today and into the evening as well. Remaining nice and dry. Should possibly see the cloud thinning a little bit by for the evening group. We should get a full day's flying out of it, albeit slightly reduced by the cloud base. So Odium still haven't issued a TAF from this morning, but their observation was 310 at 6 knots with visibility greater than 10 kilometers, few at 1,200 feet, scattered at 1,500 feet, and broken at 5,400 feet, with a pressure of 1019. Farnborough, on the other hand, they have given us a TAF this morning, and they're expecting 310 degrees, 6 knots, with visibility greater than 10 kilometers, scattered at 1,500 feet. And there's a prop 30 between 7 and 11 this morning of 8,000 meters visibility with rain broken at 1,200, which we've seen a little bit of to the east of us. Spot winds to the south, 290 at 10 and 320 at 10, at 1,000 and 2,000 feet respectively, and to the north of us 290 at 10, both of those levels. I think we can expect sort of an average of that, but northwesterly, becoming west-northwesterly later on in the day, fairly moderate, about 10 knots to 15 at height, and so something that's similar on the ground. You can see here a northwesterly flow at the moment, becoming more northwesterly throughout the day, eventually probably coming from around the 290 degree direction. Strengths of between 5 and 8 knots, potentially gusting up to 15 in the warmest part of the day. With that in mind, we'll be operating runway 27. Now we can see temperatures on the Met Office local forecast around 22 degrees today, with reasonable visibility and moderate humidity. Still, despite the cloud, fairly high UV, so do bear that in mind to cover up and wear your soaring hats, despite maybe not doing a huge amount of soaring for some of you. GFS giving us something similar there, about 22 degrees with a dew point of 12. And this is the webcam on the south side looking to the north. can see it's probably broken there about 1,500 feet. So more, almost certainly flyable, no problem there for us. But it will limit the sort of potential today. Expecting the cloud base to rise, albeit staying fairly solid in terms of base. So the temperature now, we're up to 16.9 locally with a dew point of 14.5. And looking at the sky sight point forecasts, the potential flight distance on the left-hand side of the screen here, showing a reasonable soaring potential to the west and southwest of us, and possibly slightly to the northwest as well. But still fairly thick cloudy, getting, if anything, worse into the afternoon. Although supposedly a rising base throughout that and soarable underneath up towards 4.5 to 5,000 feet above the airfield, with climbs ranging between 3 and 4 knots. So we'll see how that actually transpires. It should be soarable today, but I don't think it's going to be the best day in the world. Thermal top winds, northwesterly and north-northwesterly, but 10 knots coming around, backing to northwesterly in the afternoon. So looking at the cloud distribution chart here on Top Meteor, you can see it beginning now at 9 o'clock local. And in our area, we can see quite a lot of below 2,000 and 1,000 foot cloud. Running it through hour by hour, there's a bit of a clearance that appears to be forming to the west of us. And that may even get in our area by about 11 o'clock, although this is quite contradictory with what the other charts were saying. And then seeing that filling in with cumulus and subsequently some fairly thick auto Q with cumulus beneath. Thinning out into the late afternoon and evening, supposedly bluing out by about 7:30, 8 o'clock this evening. So some conflicting forecasts there. We'll see which one of them comes true. Hopefully it's this one, and we get a reasonable soaring day out of it. No times then, with the sort of fairly limited cross-country potential in mind, we won't in too much detail. But 33 and 35, we have flare firing in Farnham this evening, and 35 is Delta 132, the Ash Ranges. Up at 36, we've got paragliders at Gibbet between surface and 3,000 feet. And at 41, you've got West Ilsley, it's paraglider winch launching up to 1,900 feet above sea level. And to the northwest there, towards Kemble and Aston Down, you've got what's becoming the all too familiar temporary CTA Class D. We won't go into the details of that. I don't think it's particularly relevant today. If you've got any questions, it can be found either on whatever NOTAM source you're using or Skydemon have it depicted quite nicely. So moving on now to the local briefing. And going into glider bookings, we've got 2 K21s on the 5-day courses, 2 on booked instruction, and there's 1 for the casual list. There's plenty of single seat availability across both fleets, predominantly the Grobs. However, today, and there were 9 on the casual list with 2 instructors. So we're going to be limited more by gliders. There are plenty of K13s. I think there are any K13s really allocated today, so they can be used to help with the casual list as well. And if there are any other instructors around that would like to help out, your help is more than welcome and very much appreciated. Of course, the simulator is available as normal. And a reminder about the Boyne expedition, of course. Only 1 or 2 places left now, so do get booking in via the office. Any questions, come and see myself, Ron or Barry. 2XL today, so there was meant to be a compass swing on a threshold at around 8 o'clock local. I haven't seen any sign of that, so we'll continue to monitor. That won't affect our operations today. We'll just carry on as normal. If you do see an aircraft being towed out to the end, it's more likely just for that. It'll be there for about an hour. And there's a potential for a couple of ad hoc movements later on this afternoon, but that's TBC depending on the maintenance status. In summary, we've got high pressure ridging in from the southwest and a slow moving cold front to the east, thick mid-level clouds throughout the day with a northwesterly flow across the field. We'll be operating runway 27 today with cables on the south side grass, and please make sure you're ready when the cable or tug arrives. As always, do not land or taxi across the disused runways shown in red. And there's our airfield setup with the winch in the usual place in the south side grass, air towing from the hard, and any requirement for a grid, of course, would be in the usual place on the north side grass. That's all from me this morning. So make the best of the day, have a good day, and keep it safe. Thank you.